I've never heard the name Kyren Lacey until today, but hearing that name and finding out about this young man's story is absolutely heartbreaking. They destroyed and ruined that young man's life so bad that this young man ended up taking his own life.
And if that situation with that baby Kyren Lacey isn't enough for you to believe that the only way to rid people of oppression that is committed against them by armed forces is to defund them, it's really nothing else for us to talk about. You don't get it and you won't get it. You will not understand, and there's no reason to go back and forth about it.
Welcome on another episode, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like this video so others get to see it and join in this conversation as well. The side of TikTok that I woke up to today is a bit emotional, sad. What happened to Kyren Lacey is not just only sad, it is infuriating as well. If you don't know who Kyren Lacey is, I am going to just give you a little summary of who he is so you can get exactly the reason why people, and especially Americans, are reacting this way. Kyren Lacey is a young man, a 24-year-old LSU football star who took his own life one day before he was set to be indicted for charges that in hindsight he wasn't even responsible for: neglect, homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless driving. And now, days later, there are video evidence online that he wasn't even near the place that the crash happened. Days after he committed suicide, they released another video evidence that proved that he wasn't even near the area when the crash happened that took the life of a 78-year-old man. We are talking about a young man whose entire future was shattered just because he couldn't see his football career happening again, because he was seeing more of jail than his football career. And this happened not because of guilt, but just by a system that rushed to blame him. I really want you guys to hear the reaction, especially from black people, because this is a young black man and the system did not even wait to see evidence before the entire blame was placed on him. He took his own life, and now there's evidence that he wasn't even responsible for that. It is sad and infuriating, you guys. Let's get into what the people are saying, and then we will come back and talk about it.
Every person that slandered Kyren Lacey's name needs to be held accountable, and especially those officers and those people actually involved in the accident. Because they made it seem like this man was going 100 miles per hour, driving like a maniac, and just caused this accident, when new video evidence just doesn't show that. And then in the police body cam footage, there was a witness who said that it wasn't Kyren who caused the accident, but it was actually the lady involved in the accident who was the one who caused it. And then you had so many people online, the media, slandering this guy's name, saying, oh yeah, he's a horrible person. Oh, he was doing these celebrations, these gun celebrations. Oh, it definitely meant he caused this accident. And just pulling shit out of their ass to slander this man. And then the media plastered this man's mugshot every single where. You couldn't open any social media, any news article without seeing this man's mugshot. I'll tell you this also, everybody needs someone like Kyren Lacey's lawyer in their life, because that man has not quit since day one. But the unfortunate part is, so many people now are trying to do this like revisionist history thing, and they're like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have said these things about Kyren, like we didn't have this new evidence, but it's too late for that. And this whole thing is just so sad, because for one, he lost his life, but also, America's supposed to be, you are innocent until proven guilty. Yet in his case, he was guilty until he was proven innocent, and you see how backwards that is? Obviously, there's nothing we can do to bring Kyren back, but I wish people would take a step back and actually look at what the bigger problem in this whole...
Here's the thing about America, though. You got to deep it. If they were willing to do that to Kyren Lacey now, in a surveillance state where cameras are everywhere, imagine what they were doing to young black men decades and centuries ago when the cameras weren't all over the place, right? If you don't know who Kyren Lacey is, please go look this up. The story about the young brother. He's now deceased, and he was involved in a situation where they said he was the reason for an accident, didn't stop, ran, got charged with negligent homicide, hit and run, etc. And he was preparing for an NFL career, and it was just a lot. It was a lot. And I remember his attorney coming out saying, hey, I was going to work on this. Just hold on, stay strong for me, etc. But the way the story came out was that, he did some kind of illegal passing and he was the reason for the accident. Now we're seeing visual evidence, right? No matter what he did in that vehicle, he was about 70 plus yards away. I'm trying to get all this information right from that actual accident. Then you get visuals of the police officer walking the other participants, witnesses, etc., tell them what to say, how to say it, even though they disagreed. You got people turning on body cameras. That's damning. That's damning. And I know a lot of you, it's okay. I didn't have a opinion on the situation, but I know a lot of people go, oh, well, you know, he was getting ready to be presented to the grand jury, unalive himself. That must have been an admission of guilt. Or now you get to see the alternative, right? How you feel like your whole world is crashing down on you. You feel like you're being targeted. You're like, yo, like, okay, maybe I was driving with my car, my green car. I'm fast, I moved, but I wasn't responsible for that. Was I? People start corroborating other people's stories. Your mind start getting fogged up. You start losing hope, right? And then some of you might say, oh, well, listen, when you start bringing up America, period, is America. The world, period, is the world, right? When you start bringing up states like Louisiana to me, and you start presenting situations like this to me, you might say, oh, well, the attorney was white. The attorney that was fighting for him was white. That's what allyship looks like, buddy. And somebody doing their job. A damn good job. A damn good job, right? Please go look up the video. Please go look up the video. If you have time, watch the entire interview with the attorney. Watch him walk you through exactly how he was going to present this case. Watch him passionately tell you, hey, dog, I didn't doctor this. I didn't edit this. I got this from them. I got this from them. And if they're willing to stick by police, stick by stories when they have tapes like that in front of them, imagine what they were doing when there wasn't a lens in front.
And if that situation with that baby Kyren Lacy isn't enough for you to believe that the only way to rid people of oppression that is committed against them by armed forces is to defund them, it's really nothing else for us to talk about. You don't get it and you won't get it. You will not understand, and there's no reason to go back and forth about it. It's the same thing that happened with Emmett Till. It's just current day. We seen this shit in 4K. Do you hear what I'm saying? And if that's not enough for you, nothing will ever be enough for you. There's no convincing you, actually. Now, what justice would look like is everybody, from the person who got into the car accident to the caused the car accident, to the police mother, the police babies, everybody spending the rest of their natural born lives in jail for doing what they did to that boy. That boy took his life because he believed that the odds were stacked against him, which they were. He was framed, right? He ended his life because he did not see a light at the end of the tunnel, because they told him, his own legal defense told him, boo, it's a wrap. It's nothing that we can do. And so to me, that is the equivalent of you unaliving that little boy. They killed him. He didn't kill him. They killed him. And for that reason alone, me personally, I'm not a fan of the death penalty, but I also am an advocate for it. If somebody does something to me and the people around, because I'm not suffering no more. If somebody does something to me and the people around me can't sit with the fact that I'm no longer here, and every day, day in and day out, they got to remember the way that I went out, I want them to be the people to get the justice. They don't know me. They ain't feed me. They ain't wipe my ass. They don't give a fuck about me. They trying to get them motherfucking numbers. Fuck them. Let them people who got to deal with me not being here no more, let them handle their ass. Let them, however they see fit. Don't put it in the courts, because the courts is the reason we in this situation right now. That little boy lost his life for no reason at all. And everybody was okay with his execution. They was okay with sending that little boy to jail. They ended that boy's life. And the only person who won't have to sit with that, not the coaches, not the football team, not the college, none of that. His friends, his family, and his motherfucking mother and daddy. And them is the people who need to be saying, don't worry about a judge. Because the people who you are in alliance with are the ones who caused that. The motherfucking police officer talking about something. Say he did it. Say he did it. Excuse me? His tires didn't even look like they was in the same trajectory as that motherfucking car accident. And y'all was willing to let that little boy go to jail for nothing. For nothing.
I take no joy in saying that the Kyren Lacy situation is unfortunately the perfect example of the harms created by systemic racism in America. Kyren Lacy was an LSU football player. He was NFL draft bound, and those chances were completely ruined by a Louisiana Police Department's false allegations. He was in the area when a fatal hit-and-run car crash occurred. An eyewitness in what would turn out to be a coerced statement implicated Kyren Lacy in the crash. Being a college football star in the NIL era afforded Kyren some privileges, like the neon green Charger that would later be revealed to have been 100 feet away when the accident happened.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, like, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that Charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that Charger. That's...
I ain't skid mark or nothing. I wasn't even gone.
This, of course, did not matter to the officer who is on camera coercing a witness to state that Kyren's car caused the accident, despite that witness actually speaking to what happened in the body cam footage.
She didn't show what happened. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not it.
So, but the Charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake?
This, unfortunately, is information we only have as of late, and though clearing his name can't bring back his chances at going to the NFL, as the case ruined those, and of course, we can only assume now that the pressure of being framed for a murder you did not commit and all those good old boys on the internet jumping on Twitter to make their granddads proud was too much to deal with as he passed after taking his own life in April. I think that would be too much to deal with for a lot of people while we're talking about it. I think that this is important to understand, though, because we just watched literal thousands of Americans lose their jobs for quoting a podcaster who, unfortunately, you hear that, moderators? I said unfortunately, was targeted based on the things he said. Here we have a black man who took his life after being framed by the government and targeted by conservative media. Let me be the first person to say, if you haven't heard it yet, those people need to be fired. Again, those people need to be fired. In the same way we can't apologize to bring a dead podcaster back we had nothing to do with, y'all can't apologize enough to return the life of a young man who I'd argue y'all had everything to do with how he left. And that kid was an athlete, nothing politically involved. He was a victim of racists both online and in real life, manifesting their jealousy to cause harm. From the actual systemic racism that put him in that situation after being framed, to the typical American guilty until proven innocent echo chamber, every tweet should be considered a nail in the coffin and be prosecuted accordingly. Because that just seems to be the way things go around here.
What's so sad about this situation is that he'd probably still be here if the police actually did their job and did a thorough investigation. But instead, they saw a young black man who was headed to the NFL and decided that they were planning to make an example out of him. They were feeding us nonstop images of him and his mugshot, just like this one, or they would show us pictures like this of the person who lost their life in the accident that wasn't his fault. And the last thing we saw before he took his own life was headlines like this, telling us that he was on a high-speed chase. Mind you, he was only on a high-speed chase from the police because he got into an argument with a family member and he happened to have a firearm and let it off into the ground, not hurting anyone. Not saying it's okay that he did that, but no one was injured, and he was afraid because he was only 2 days away from his trial where he was being accused of unaliving somebody. Even more interesting is that the video footage that the lawyer has released shows that he wasn't even close enough to the accident and in fact went around the accident after it already happened. Mind you, the police were calling it a hit and run. A hit and run, but he didn't hit anybody. And he didn't run, he just kept going and went around the accident. But again, a young black man headed to the NFL, and here we are. I'm praying for him and his family because I'm sure that this is really hard for them to deal with at this time, and they were done so wrong.
Black man proven innocent after death. How many times have we seen that headline? Criminal justice system fails black man. Police frame black man for crime he did not commit. How many fucking times have we seen this play out? Time and time and time and time and fucking time again. Kyren Lacy was on his way to be a fucking NFL star, right? He was on his way to live his dream. He was on his way to live a reality that many individuals that look like him, that look like me, do not get to fucking live. He was accused of causing a car crash. And when the police, the body cam footage, when we watched the police questioning individuals that were involved in the crash, they pinned the blame on somebody else entirely. And somehow that police department still, after their investigation, came to the conclusion that Kyren Lacy was responsible. They drove this young black man to fucking unalive himself because he was bearing the weight of guilt that he should not have been bearing in the first place because it was not his fucking fault. But how many times have we seen this fucking country blame black men, blame black people for the doings of somebody fucking else? And I'm pretty sure the person that was actually responsible was a fucking white woman. How many times have we seen this shit fucking play out? This is so fucking saddening. his family now has to bear with the fact, and they have to deal with the fact that not only has he passed away and has he taken his own life, but it was for something that he didn't even fucking do. Criminal justice system fails another fucking black man. Another day in America.
Kyren Lacy was 24 years old, had his whole life ahead of him, was said to be an NFL prospect, and literally being at the wrong place at the wrong time, not on his accord, but by the police officer's accord. This young man ended up unalived for something he didn't even do. I'm sure most of you all know the story. He happened to bypass a car collision, a car accident, and somehow he got framed for it. And then bloggers and news and everyone on social media started blaming him for it. And then he had a warrant out for his arrest. Ended up taking his own life during a police chase. I mean, this man was a beast in the football field. He had over 2,300 receiving yards and 26 touchdowns in his college career. Set for the NFL to do what he loves, had worked all his entire life for it. And then as he rolled past a accident, a collision, now he's at fault for that. If you've ever been in a car accident before, and unless it was just like a little tap, your car would most likely be drivable. You would have some type of scratch or something. And there wasn't. His car was completely fine. Now, he did pass the 4 cars, which I would have done the same thing. So I'm confused on where that cop got that. But that cop is white. Kyren Lacy's obviously black. So there's that. I just really would love to know, like, what is it about us that y'all don't like? I've said it before, and I know that there's a whole, like, jealousy thing. And, I mean, I guess that's what it is. Because there's no reason why this young black man who had his whole life ahead of him, why? Just answer why for me. It's ridiculous. And whether that man ended up in jail or he, like, his whole career was over. And at this point, I'm just convinced that you all, not all white people, but a good majority of y'all just want to see us dead or behind bars. So what, y'all can go and get everything? So y'all can go and get shit that you don't know what to do with? And what, fuck this country up even more? Look at what's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Blueprint, nieces and nephews, I'm sorry to tell you, we are, from us, you may actually do well. Instead of putting other black lives on the dotted line. Well, rest in peace to Kyren Lacy and every other black man who's been accused of something that they had nothing to do with. Peace and hair grease.
You are familiar with the part of Black American history that constantly put blame on black men, especially without even a thorough check. If you have gone down the rabbit hole of black men who have lost their life for things that they were never responsible for, this is going to be sad and infuriating to you. Let's sit with this for a moment. A 24-year-old young black man with a promising future, with dreams and a good career in football, one accusation, one headline, and suddenly the story changed. The moment they accuse him, he was staring down a grand jury indictment than his football career. That is a lot of pressure, especially on someone who is just at the early stage of starting their life. Devastating part is that he wasn't even responsible for it. He wasn't even the one that caused it. He was about 76 or 72 yards away from where the incident happened at the time it happened. By the time this truth came out, it was too late because Kyren has already taken his own life. Shout out to his lawyer because he said he was going to get him justice. It did, but the unfortunate part is Kyren already took his life. So still very much painful. And the part that was even more infuriated, the part that felt like this thing was planned to take this man down because they could sight and smell a good future for a young black man, was when a video evidence was released of a police officer coaching a witness on what to say. And I think that is the reason why they rushed to blame him. And I think the media ran with that and they blame me, because with what I have seen online, it's not only the justice system that failed this young man, social media as well did. Immediately this headline hit the media, his pictures were plastered everywhere. And at this point, the system did not just fail Kyren, it haunted him. This video proves that this was not even something like misunderstanding. It is given targeted. Him being dead today would have been avoided if they had brought out the cam footage very fast, which I particularly do not understand. The reason why the cam footage wasn't shown, because it is there. Why did they wait so long? Why did they allow the media to run with the fact that this man was guilty to a point where he took his own life before the cam footage was released? You see a lot of conversation on what false accusation to do to black men. And if you have not kind of go down that rabbit hole, I really want you to get into it and watch more videos of the things that wrong accusation has done to black men. I want you to go down that rabbit hole because there's no time. ML2's story till today is painful, because for black men, the moment you walk into a courtroom, there is not even space to think about if you're guilty or not. You're already guilty. The mental health toll that comes with that. I saw some comments and some points people were making about how, knowing his mind that he didn't do that, it wasn't the reason for that accident. He should have waited and not commit suicide. But the truth is, this man already knows that the system is not built in a way to protect black men. So he knew that even if he tried, with the way social media has run with it, with the way it is all over every single app that you open, he thought everything was against him. He knew the system that he was facing. The system wasn't built for black men. He thought about so many things and he said, you know what, instead of me to live with this pain for the rest of my life, I am just going to go rest. And that man took his own life. His life wasn't just taken away by suicide. His life was stripped away by fear, injustice, and shame. That type of emotional pressure doesn't just come from anywhere. It comes from being black in a system that was designed to break you even before hearing you out. Kyren Lacy should still be here. He should still be in the field with his friends and colleagues, practicing, playing. Instead, his family are mourning. His siblings are crying. His mother is in pain. The life of their son was taken away by a corrupt system. Say the name of Kyren Lacy and condolences to his family, sending prayers and all the strength that they need during this moment. Say his name, because I feel like every single person needs to know the story of this young man. It is so freaking painful. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I am going to see you guys in the next one.